recording this because the survivors no longer envy the dead. The final war is over. Its architects forever entombed in melted glass and steel. I watched the efforts of our species dance away on the radioactive wind. Civilization retreated by millennia. All of human history brought to dust. Our cities, now scorched black mausoleums, serve as a reminder. There could be no victory at war. Earth is the answer to the question of our mortality. With resolute defiance, we choose to grasp at the delicate thread of life. My son, the gift of survival is yours. Please, may you never submit. There will be more.
This is it. We are on our own. The air is clear. Welcome home. We're headed straight for oblivion, but we're gonna make it. Whatever it takes. I just wanna be with you. Lost love or revelation. Heavy rain diffuse the sun. Look up and wash it all away. We all know how this ends. Up above, the skyline's drifting in and out around us. But I know you're here. Can we rebuild everything? I can see the angel dust is raining down upon us. So I know we'll be safe. We can rise to the fire. Our roads paved in crushed up skulls. Ride with me to the end of the world. We're headed straight for oblivion. Just keep it lit, we go again. And we'll fly right through. I just wanna be with you. Lost love or revelation. Heavy rain diffuse the sun. Look up and wash it all away. We all know how this ends. Up above, the skyline's drifting in and out around us. But I know you're here. Can we rebuild everything? I can see the angel dust is raining down upon us. So I know we'll be safe. We can rise to the fire. There's a void in my head. Nowhere I can hide. There's a shiver in her breath as she slowly closes the other eye. Time stood still. We danced on broken glass. Yeah, I'm afraid nothing when I'm with you.
Herzlich willkommen zurück auf Schalke America. I'm your host, Richard Carmen. Joining me as always, Jack Mangan. Glück auf, Jack. How we doing?
Doing all right, sir. Good to be with you. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. We had a massive weekend. A lot of stuff going on. Not just games, but just in general, a lot of stuff going on. But we got a lot of Schalke to talk about tonight. So we'll see how much we can get through tonight. We got two games, and if there's time, we'll get into some news bits. But the game's going to take a good part of this. Glück auf to Kuroro, Anthony, Jack, and whoever else is in the chat. All right. Well, yeah, two games tonight. The rundown tonight is going to be we're going to talk the reactions from the games, and then if there's time, keyword if, we're going to do some news bits. If not, we're going to do it in Friday's stream. But let's kick things off with the top spiel, Jack. And by top spiel, I mean the women. Schalke Frauen had a massive game, a Revere Derby, promotion on the line. Game they played earlier in the year, which we kind of covered a bit back in October. That was a 0-0 draw. But again, this is end of the season, 3 games left. Essentially, the winner of this game gets promotion with 1 point separating the two. What were your thoughts into this game? Obviously, this for me, if I had to choose between the two games to watch, I'd watch the women's game. I ended up watching both just because we got to have a stream for the women's game. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this game? Head into it.
Well, I think, to some extent, we're probably all starving for a derby fixture, which we are deprived of now that we're in the second division. So
And
if we
good
can
football.
get that, right. So, I mean, if we can get that, through the Frauen team, especially with, some implications for promotion and stuff on the line. Yeah, I was excited for that one as well, for sure.
Yeah, no, it was. I was excited for that. Again, also some good football. Like I joke, but it's like serious. Like we've been struggling this year. It seems like for some good football. And the Frauen have played very well this year. Since the Revere Derby game back in October, both teams I think have gone like 18 games unbeaten. So it's been good performances by both. We joked about both these teams are so good. We should both get promoted. And you're like, no. Dortmund doesn't need to go up. And you're right, 100%. So the lineups in this game, I don't have the lineups in this game. I'm not gonna lie. I looked for them, I couldn't find them. I have a screenshot of them, but the game, good turnout in this game. This game would be in Dortmund. There's about 10,000 fans in attendance. Sold out in advance. So it was good to see such a good, strong showing for the women's game, even though it's not in the top, in the Bundesliga. It's got a great showing too. Obviously, two big teams, two teams that have their aspirations of getting to the Bundesliga. But I thought the crowd was amazing in this one. It was in Dortmund. There's a lot of Schalke fans. It's almost 50-50, I thought, in terms of the crowd. What were your thoughts on how the atmosphere was?
Yeah, looked like a beautiful day, right in the shadow of the main stadium and everything. And, looked like a good crowd. As you said, I think over 10,000, in attendance. So nice to see that turnout.
Yeah, so it was a good game from the onset. Early on, you got to see a lot of Marucek, the goalkeeper for Schalke. They had to come up with some big saves early on in the game. We had some opportunities as well with a header. I think Salic in the 16th minute got an opportunity. It seemed fairly even, I thought, in the first half. Marucek came up pretty big, I thought, overall. And it didn't quite feel like a derby until we started seeing, Deli and some of the other guys. Deli going against Marquardt, which is like the star player for Dortmund. It started getting into it a couple times in the first half, and it built throughout the game. But it started to feel more and more like a derby as the first half went on. You like seeing that tension going on. Anytime there's any kind of a rivalry going on, you want to see it combative tension, and we started seeing that as the half started developing. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd's certainly getting into it more as some of those events took place. I thought it was a little cagey to begin with. I thought Dortmund was getting in behind us pretty easily and threatening on some quick, counters and long balls in behind. It took us a while to kind of grow and start, getting some meaningful chances ourselves.
And I think too, like I agree with that. Like Dortmund seemed the better offensive team, but we seemed pretty, disciplined defensively. Didn't seem like we were giving up too much. You could see why we were on an 18-game unbeaten streak because, we got all these opportunities coming in, but then once they got to the defense, the defense would shut them down, or if they got past the defense, Marucek would be there to make a save. So, in that regards, it's fairly even in the first half, and then all of a sudden, we saw a couple chances where Marucek maybe made a couple mistakes, trying to get the ball out. But it wasn't until the Dortmund goalkeeper tried to play the ball out. I don't know, it was like something like the 38th minute, 35th minute, like that. She goes to throw the ball into the field, and Habibovic, Johnny on the spot, or Joni on the spot, catches the ball. She intercepts the pass and catches the goalie outside of her goal, and chips the goalkeeper with a great shot. Gets in goal. Great way to start the Riviera Derby with a goal opening like that. I felt good once that goal went in, but that was a great shot by Habibovic to get the goal and get the lead off the mistake by the goalkeeper there.
Yeah, it was interesting because it came off of kind of like a fairly tame long-range effort. Initially, I think it was Salic maybe who took that. Kind of like a broke through the midfield on kind of a turnover play. I thought there was a little bit too stagnant from both teams at times in terms of like loose balls. You didn't see like multiple people going for these things. There was a lot of like watching, but like that was one of those sequences where ball kind of kicked around a lot. Schalke was more alive to it than Dortmund was in that moment. Salic kind of pulls forward, gets the shot off, and then Dortmund keeper was just very aggressive running out from where she picked it up pretty deep in her own box and then ran out really far, kind of diagonally to the edge of the box before she threw it. Probably not a good call there. And then, as you said, like, we were able to chip it from range sort of and get in behind. So, way to be alive to the goalkeeper positioning and just let one rip and, pretty cheap way for them to concede. But I was optimistic at that point. Like, hey, going to go into the halftime with a nice little 1-0 lead. Feeling good, but yeah.
Yeah, it was short-lived after the goal from Habibovic. I mean, great goal to start off the derby.
Extremely short-lived.
Extremely short-lived. An immediate response by Dortmund. It was like a broken play on the right back side, and then a ball gets crossed into the box, and somehow Marquardt, however you say her name, she was wide open in the box and just puts it past Matacek. Nothing she could do about it. But you leave a striker that wide open, they're going to score the goal 9 times out of 10. And it looked like our men's defense there with that way she was open like that.
Yeah, it looked like I think somebody tried to play it in initially and it was blocked and it fell to somebody else. And then they took it just earlier, I think, before anyone was anticipating it. And I don't know, unmarked, pretty cheap. All they had to really do was just kind of like direct it into the corner of the goal, right? You know what I mean? It wasn't a particularly acrobatic finish or anything. Unfortunate to have just gained that momentum on the road and then let it in right before halftime.
We also saw, I think, we talked about how some of the aggressiveness was starting in the first half between Dortmund and Schalke. Deli ended up getting a yellow card in that first half, as did Marquardt, the goal scorer. So they were going back and forth throughout the game, which you love to see a defender and a striker going after each other like that. But with halftime 0-0, my overall assessment, I guess, of the first half was that Dortmund looked like they had slightly more of the possession, but it seemed like defensively, again, we were stout. It seemed like we weren't giving up too many chances other than that one clear opportunity that they scored on.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, like, with your assessment generally, like I said, I think there were some issues in terms of allowing kind of quick ball progression. Like you said, once we got into the final third, usually hunkered down for the most part. And I think it was later in the second half where things opened up a little bit more in general. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's worth shouting that I thought in the first half in particular, for Schalke, in terms of players who impressed me, I thought Natalie Bowman was really good, lively in the right-hand side. Deli was active just because she was trying to instigate stuff. And then the captain was obviously very stout defensively. And Matacek was obviously really good as well. Good performances, I think, overall in the first half. And as the second half kicked off, you saw a clear game plan. I mean, obviously, you're hoping to go on 1-0 at halftime. They scored, make it 1-1. You got to kind of change things up because at this point, the first River Derby was a draw. This was leaning towards a draw, and you really need that win to overtake them for promotion. So you saw Schalke come out more physical, at least in the first 10 minutes or so. I thought that was a pretty good strategy by them to kind of offset Dortmund because, like you mentioned, both teams seemed kind of hesitant. So if they started, implementing a little bit more physicalness to the game, it would throw Dortmund off. And I think that's when we started seeing the game slightly start to open up. But I thought it was a good strategy at the onset of the second half.
Yeah, I would agree. Because I'm sure this actually isn't the case in terms of the actual team sheet listings or whatever. But there was a seeming physicality difference in the first half where it looked like we were just playing smaller.
Yeah.
Like we had like literally like physically smaller people on the field, which I don't think is like once again the case. But like yeah, I felt like that was balanced out more in the second half, and the approach was a little bit different. Some of the energy was different there. So I agree.
Going back on the Bowman theme, I thought she played really well. Again, continuing to the second half. There's one play where she had like excellent hustle, where she went down the pitch, tracked back, made a great tackle, and got the ball out in around the 58th, 60th minute. We would see her set up a. She had this great run, I think like 61st minute. She gets tackled just outside the box, set up a free kick for Habibovic, and Habibovic went up to kicks the ball into the box. Deli has a clear opportunity, header wide open at the 6-yard box, and misses it wide. I'm like, oh, that's an opportunity miss. And then minutes later, we missed it again. I think it was Deli again. If it wasn't Deli, it was who was the other one? I think it was Deli both times. Just wide open headers in the 6-yard box, missing. I'm like, we're gonna come back. That's gonna come back to bite us in the back later on. We can't miss those opportunities. We talked about this in the men's game also. Is like when you get these opportunities, especially at point blank range, you got to put it on target. Force the keeper to make the save or a mistake, and not having it on target hurts us in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, yeah, whether or not we were the better team over the course of 90 minutes, I think there's a discussion there, but I think it easily could have gone either way, and we had enough chances in the second half to flip, what the result ended up being ultimately.
I think it's worth noting that as shaky as the Dortmund keeper was in the first half, she rebounded really well. Unfortunately for us, I thought Habibovic twice in the mid 65th minute or so off of corner kicks tried to score goals, and she nearly did. It's a good goalkeeping by her to keep it out. And then we saw a Jermaine Jones like on Grosskreutz play by Kofka later, just before the 70th minute, where she goes, tackles a player, gets a yellow card. And clearly, the ball wasn't even anywhere there, but it's a clear Jermaine Jones situation where she just took the player out. I was like, I love seeing that in a rivalry game where it's like, fuck you, I'm going to take you out. But as you said, the game started opening more and more up. Lots of good counterattacks by Dortmund. I thought, we had a play where Bowman ended up going to the left-hand side. We made some substitutions, and it started working out well, but I think Dortmund, as you mentioned, as the 80th minute and on started ticking, they got more and more opportunities, more and more counter plays, and I was getting really fearful of them because I thought those headers that we missed in the first part of the second half were going to come back to bite us. And sure enough, Matashek makes a great save in the 84th minute, but eventually in the 87th minute, we're trying to press them really well. Unfortunately, they break the press, they counter. Kofka, the captain, gets beat for speed down the right-hand flank. Ball finds Marquardt in the box. She passes back door to wide open Enderle, who puts it past Matacek for the late winner. I mean, it was like 87th, 89th minute when she scored a gut punch late goal there, a winner, unfortunately. Terrible way to end the game.
No, I mean, yeah, because a couple of the possessions prior to that, we were putting pressure on them, getting after them and, getting them on their heels a little bit. And I think it was Hamdi coming down the right-hand side, muscled somebody off, got into space, played it across, had a couple like rebound opportunities. Looked like something might open up for us to get a good shot off right on the edge of the box. And ultimately it gets recycled to Dortmund, very Gareth Bale, Copa del Rey-esque goal, getting pushed, off the sideline and getting in behind. And then, like a challenge comes in when a point looks like we won the ball, somehow doesn't actually win the ball, and then just that puts a 2-on-1. Don't really blame the defender there for I guess kind of trying to play in between, but maybe put more ball pressure on there. I don't know, but it just seemed like we gave them a lot of time to just pick a shot out with the goalkeeper. I think somebody should just ran at the ball carrier ultimately, but. Yeah, heartbreaking. Tough one once again, especially just because I mean, Dortmund had some chances leading up to that too, but that last 10, 15 minutes of the game, we had some good play there, and we had them on their heels a number of occasions. So, that quick counter is pretty devastating.
Yeah, unfortunately, and it'll be the winner. They won the game, and essentially, I mean, there's still a couple games to go. Anything can happen. But that essentially is going to get Dortmund promoted into the Regional Liga. Schalke will have to be in the league one more year, hopefully, to try to get out. I got a little bit confused with this, and I don't know if you know this, but they had just played SSV Rada in the semifinals of the cup. which I thought was related to this, but it's not. I guess I don't know exactly for sure, but I know this game was about promotion sake. Do you know if there's a cup game? I must be mixing the two up. I think.
Do not ask me about the machinations of the German football pyramid. I am not your guy for that. I mean, even trying to ascertain what's exactly where we are within the Frauen structure is interesting. The way they have it, sort of regionally. Yeah.
I was like, who really is really good in this and really knowledgeable in this is Brian Sanders from the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. He actually knows the stuff in terms of women's game. If you have questions, ask him. I was definitely asking him, and I got it all confused the way he was telling me everything about it. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on right now. So shout out.
We'll hire him to put together a PowerPoint or something, and we can do a multimedia presentation next time.
There you go. So that was the first bit of bad news from the weekend. And then after that, we would go to the men's game. The men's game actually was before the women's game. And so let's go to the lineups for that one. I do have the lineups for that one. All right. So for Kaiserslautern, the home team, starting back that crawl and goal with Elvedi, a known commodity for Bundesliga fans in general. Sirk and Hoyer with Ronstadt, Kalak, and Redondo, another name you should be familiar, especially FIFA heads should know who Redondo is. Ritter and Yokoro, two guys you should definitely be aware of with Hanslik and Ake. Everybody knows Ragnar Ake, and at least in the Zweite Liga. Doesn't matter what team he's on, he's going to be the focal point. And that was my key to the game is know where the hell this guy is and have somebody on him at all times. That was my takeaway from the first half. Yokoro's another guy you always want to worry about, but Ragnar Ake knows how to put the ball in the back of the net no matter who he plays for. What were your thoughts on Kaiserslautern's lineup?
I mean, it's hard to not have a different take coming into the game than that, and clearly easier said than done based on the way this one went. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest of markings there by us. For us, Heckeren back in goal. You had Bullet, Schallenberg, Kaminsky, Merkin in defense with Gruger and Seguin once again in the holding positions with Aiden, Bachmann, and more. Initially, until up top, obviously. Initially, when the graphics came out during the game, they had Seguin in the Karaman position and Bachmann with Gruger in the back. But as soon as the game kicked off, you saw Bachmann was more ahead than Seguin, which makes sense. Seguin's better role is in the back as a playmaker, and Bachmann is more lively when he's into the box and has the opportunity to get some ahead on the ball. So standard lineup, I thought it was okay. I would have preferred to see maybe another striker there, either a Ba or a Hoyland in there, but they went with three midfielders, try to solidify that in that game. Okay, I guess at the onset of the game, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not first choice just because of the red card situation for Karaman, but we did see Bachmann play a little bit higher in that kind of a role earlier in the season at times, and there's been select games where he's actually looked decent in that role, like had some nice moments. He's had some games where he's able to have some nice kind of like one-touch stab passes around the edge of the box and facilitate some things. And I don't know if we got the best out of him from that in this game in particular. But beyond that, relatively standard stuff from a lineup perspective. Tobias Moore at the moment, once again, kind of getting this run on the left-hand side. Yeah.
And just like in the Frauen's game, good traveling support there. In this game, I think I heard something like there was 15,000 traveling fans to Kaiserslautern, which was amazing. Mm-hmm. You saw it, you heard them. They had a great choreography before the game, which is great to see. You hadn't seen that in a while because they kind of been protesting the police there at Veltins Arena. So good to see there. Seguin wearing the armband in this one. Early on, you saw that Kaiserslautern was trying to go more direct play. It seemed like right off the bat, they went over the top. Luckily, Heckeren was up to it. I thought Heckeren overall had a good game. The game started out fairly even, I want to say. I mean, Kaiserslautern probably had more possession, but Bachmann did have a good chance in the quarter-hour mark. Gruger had a wasted corner a little bit after that. But first 20 minutes or so, I thought it was a fairly even game. Like, how was the first half feeling for you as it was going on?
Yeah, I didn't think there was a ton of note. I thought we were in it. It just wasn't. Not a lot of notable chances. Pretty cagey stuff. But glad that we didn't, concede early, which happened to us sometimes. We have 10 minutes of good football and then it's like immediately behind. Lasted a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely. But that danger man we were talking about, not William Kremp, but Ragnar Ake. We've got his first glimpses of him in the 22nd minute or so. He got a good chance off Heckerin. It was offsides. Heckerin didn't know that at the time, made a great save on it. Minutes later, Ake again a half chance from outside the box. Heckerin easy save. So really, first half hour of the game, no real chances for either team, I should say. But Ake started growing more and more in the first half. 33rd minute tries to lob Heckerin, but missed the goal wide. Ultimately, in the 35th minute, I'm going to say it's lazy defending by Aiden, but Redondo completely fakes him out of his boots, goes marauding down the left-hand side, crosses the ball into the box, and Ake gets a shot off, which is cleared by Heckerin off the line, or maybe it was the defender. Unfortunately, falls to Yokota, who puts it in the back of the net, 1-0, just like that. I was like, come on, man. Like, can't we get to halftime with a draw at least? What the heck is this?
So, I mean, yeah, look, for Aiden, it looks bad because he's going completely the other way and, has to kind of turn around and chase it back. So, that being said, like, the fact that this goal was scored, I think, is not, like, largely on Aiden in that play. Yes, he gives his runner kind of a free opportunity down to kind of pick a ball out, but even that, the way this was delivered, it wasn't clear cut in the box. Ake ultimately, like, jumps over the back of somebody to get a header. Heckerin makes a good save on it. Unfortunately, he deflects it still kind of to the right into play. And Yokota, was running with consistent pace from like the right side of the field, diagonally in the box, and he happens to arrive right as this ball comes and gets deflected directly to his feet. He just right place, right time. Yeah, I'm not even going to get super mad at people like not tracking that because it was just like so long developing kind of a thing. So whatever. Yeah, super unfortunate to go down that way after, like I said, not really conceding a lot of clear-cut chances. That was sort of, bouncing around in the box on that one. But, I mean, look, we know who the danger man is. He's going to get his targets. If you let him get fed, he's gonna make things happen.
Yeah. You can't. I can't believe he hasn't been like picked up by like a Bundesliga club yet. I think his guy knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. He's got a great nose for the goal, and he can jump like no other. He can always out jump anybody, any defender at least. And I think Yokota is one who's always a good engine room guy, kind of just runs all the time. And so kudos to him for just constantly running, getting right spot, right time. Right. Unfortunately for us, it nearly was 2-0 at halftime. Just before halftime, Ake got another one past Kaminsky, but Heckerin made a save on that one. But nonetheless, we go to halftime. And it wasn't until I think just before the whistle, I think we got our first like real shot in that first half where Musa Silla tried to lob the keeper and shoot it over the bar. But overall, even though it was a quiet first half, I thought we were in it, but nothing again on target. And the danger man, which is obvious to everyone, right? Even Stevie Wonder, the defense can't seem to figure him out. Maybe that's just because how good he is. I don't know, but it's unfortunate when there's a clear known target man and you still can't stop him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think sometimes in the second division, there are just certain players that you watch them and you go like they are physically or whatever else just a cut above kind of what the average Bundesliga 2 player is. And yeah, maybe Ake can't necessarily translate to the top division in the way that like Terada couldn't for a lot of his career. Yeah, but I mean, like, God, he certainly looks good in the second division, I mean, like he's a handful. So yeah. I mean, like we said, we knew what it was coming in. Not terribly executed in the first half, but still find ourselves behind. And with the lineup coming into this one, there's not enough creativity offensively to get going. We need to get going. The good thing about Silla, and we would see this in the second half, and we'll talk about this, is fortunately for us, he is the kind of player that cannot be involved for 89 minutes and then pop up for 5 seconds and still get his goal and look like he's making, what I mean? So he at least has that kind of in his locker and is constantly alive to opportunities when they come his way. But he does need more service than he had in this one. I mean, you're looking like, there's no Eunice, on the pitch. There's no Karaman on the pitch, this kind of stuff. So, tough. Also thought that like Gruger had a rough game.
He did.
And even in the first half, looked a little bit off the pace at times and kind of behind the play, which was interesting. Probably just some inconsistency issues, with the youth and whatever else. But
yeah, because I think last game he came out like at halftime because of poor player injury, or I don't know what it was. But again, not another good game. This one, we would see Hoyland early in the second half. You mentioned no attacking prowess, so we got Hoyland turned into the first half. I thought. Now, this is me, and if it's like a 50 first minute or so, like 6 minutes in the second half, looked like he was taken down to the box. No penalty. They didn't go to VAR, or at least didn't visibly show them going to VAR. I thought it was a penalty on that play, but no one else was screaming it. It looked obvious to me, but maybe it's just me being biased on my phone. I don't know. Did you catch that play? Did you think it was a penalty?
Once again, this is one of those ones where we're watching live streams that we can find in the moment. So I haven't gotten a clear enough look at that one. I haven't found a highlight of it since to kind of take a second look. So I'd have to kind of yield to your take on it. But
yeah, like I said, there was no replay on that, so I kind of go with what I saw at the time. Let's see, really a lot of going back and forth. I thought we had more opportunities in the second half. We came out much better in that second half than we did in the first half. But what we did see is finally us get into the box in the 61st minute. Really a play where it looked like we were trying to get the ball across in the back door to Silla, gets blocked, falls to, I don't even know who it fell to, Hoyland or someone else. They get a shot off. It trickles out somehow chaotically to Silla, who just pounces on it, like you said. Didn't see him all game long. All of a sudden, shows up and pounces the ball in the back of the net, puts the ball in 1-1. I don't even know how that play happened. It was just so chaotic. But nonetheless, Silla's there to pounce on it, and that's what you love to see. Was it 15th or 16th of the season? Maybe I lost count already how many he has. So, but good for him. Great goal. We needed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was off of a Hoyland rebound. So a little bit less straightforward than Yakota's in the first half, but kind of a similar situation where it just happens to deflect out to where Silla is, and he had to beat somebody to it. Once again, alive to the danger and kind of acrobatically knocked it across the line. But yeah, credit to him, still knocking him in, and that's what you need when Karaman's not on the pitch. You need Silla to step up and make something happen, and he did there.
Yeah. Game would continue on going back and forth. There was a play in the 72nd minute where there was some horrible defending by us. Ake creates some space, scores far side. But then we get one of these, VAR. VAR comes and says he's offsides. Good call. It should have been foreshadowing for Schalke if it wasn't ready for the first 75 minutes of the game. He scores, ball gets taken away. Moments later, Ake gets another chance, doesn't make a mistake this next time, scores a goal, 2-1 at that point. And it's like, God, Ake again, no defender. You give it all the time in the world to shoot from top of the box, and he's going to score, and he did. I'm like, what are we doing?
So first of all, player that we didn't mention up top in the starting lineups because he wasn't in the starting lineup, but another name that we should all be familiar with, Tobias Raschel. He's the guy that dances through 3 Schalke players into space and then plays it into Ake on the initial chance that was disallowed. And if you think Ake is all about, pace or about strength or whatever, look at the feet on that first attempt. Just absolute. I don't know what he did. It was a 360 onto his left foot, curling effort from outside the box, beats Hecker in. Kaminsky and Merkin are just staring at each other like, what just happened to us? Ridiculous goal, really good stuff. And also, it's the kind of goal that, once again, even though it happened to us, it's the kind of goal that you hate seeing disallowed because his offside position had nothing to do with him scoring that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he got in behind and he was offside and he just beat everyone for pace. He ends up kind of pulling it back and then hits a curler from outside. You know what I mean? Ridiculous goal. Feel bad for him that it wasn't able to highlight, but kind of pissed him off, I think. And I think there was 2 or 3 opportunities between when that one was disallowed and between when he ultimately scored, which wasn't that many minutes afterwards, where he also was the focal point and was just kind of receiving the ball at whim, finding whatever space he needed to. Then as you mentioned, we ended up seeing that just a couple minutes later. Gets into sort of a one-on-one with Kaminsky, and Kaminsky's going to get beat for pace, but also was able to hold him off, and then hits a ridiculous kind of half volley off balance.
Yeah.
Hits it early, so I think Hecker maybe was still kind of coming out towards the play, and so he's kind of caught flat-footed, gets it into the corner. Really good goal. The disallowed goal is a great goal. The goal he scored is a really good goal too. Both of those are great finishes. So look, when the guy's in this kind of form, like I said, he's just a mismatch. He's better than our defenders. I have no problem saying that. He's just better. And this is a game where we just didn't have what we needed. I feel to keep him contained.
Yeah, it was unfortunate too. I thought it would be nice to get out of there at least with a draw, especially against a top team like this who's battling for promotion, which we didn't mention. Which we'll get to this. We'll talk about the coaching stuff afterwards because I do want to mention that before we get out tonight. But yeah, they even asked Kees van Wonderen before the game, with a new coaching change, what do you expect? He's like, this is going to be the same team. They're not going to change anything overnight. There's a couple days' notice. They're going to be the same team we've seen all year, so we should be well prepared for them. They clearly were not. Is that almost like they didn't even know Ragnar Ake was on the team all year long because they missed the time with him. Like you said, he just did that good. He was much better than our defenders, and so it's sometimes hard to contain that. Like Toronto in his 30-goal year, you thought you could contain him. You couldn't contain him. He just did anything he wanted, and he scored goals. So that would be all she wrote. Game ends 2-1. Really, I think that's the only team in the top half of the table that won because you had Hamburg losing, Cologne losing, and a couple others as well. But yeah, 2-1 loss. Bitter defeat, I thought. Overall, just because it would have been nice to get away with a draw, like I said, but I think the deserved win was for Kaiserslautern. We couldn't stop their main guy, their main guys, and it had left us scratching our heads.
But even people like Bullet had his hands full in this game, I think, at times too. So, look, credit to Kaiserslautern. They played us hard, and I don't think there was a single player on the Schalke pitch that you could point to and say that person had a standout game. If you want to give it to Silla because he scored the goal, you can do that. But I don't think there was a player anywhere on the pitch outside of maybe Hecker. And if you want to say, hey, that was conceded two goals, but looked relatively more confident, was kind of okay. If you want to say that about Hecker, I'm totally fine with that. But outside of him, it was slim pickings for standout performances from us. Kaiserslautern just kind of outclassed us over the course of the 90 minutes. So
that's a good segue because I had 4 takeaways from the game. From the games. First, Musa Silla. I'm going to give him a neutral score because he scored a goal. So I give him a neutral score there. For the most part, was quiet in the game, but he did show up when we needed him. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough. I'm going to give a green star to Adina Habibovic from the Frauen because her goal was a great goal to kick off the derby there. Coming back to the men's game, and maybe it's just me being really bitter at the moment, but I'm going to give it Mehmet Chen Aydin a red rating, a poor rating. I thought he didn't look good. He wasn't helpful at all. Last game, he did really well against Hamburg, I thought, very lively. And we talked about this consistency issue with him. Some games he's really good, and other times he's really bad. And to me, I thought he was bad. And then lastly, my gold star, if I'm going to actually give one, and this is actually for the women again, Natalie Bowman. I thought she was everywhere, lively throughout that game. Only thing she was missing was a goal or an assist. So that's my 4 takeaways. Not much from the men's side because there wasn't much to write home about. But anything to add on top of that?
No, I love all those shouts. And definitely 2 entertaining fixtures, both of them. Disappointing in different ways, but good stuff from Schalke this weekend.
I was hoping we'd get at least one Victory Monday celebration, but none. U19's won. The U19s are moving on to the quarterfinals, so there's that. Ihen with a great goal.
Didn't Ihen score?
Yeah, great goal.
Yeah.
So, real quick, on that goal, that was a great goal. It was a throw-in. The ball didn't even bounce. It goes over the defender, and he one-times it into the goal. Great goal. If you haven't seen it, go look online. We retweeted it. Schalke's retweeted, obviously. Great goal. So that was a great goal to get into the quarterfinals there. I do want to talk about the coaching carousel real quick before we get out tonight because I did mention Kaiserslautern had a new manager. Let's jump back to Tuesday night where after the chaos with Kies van Vonderen chirping about the management, the brass got their heads together, and I'm talking about Mulder, Baumann, Manga, and I guess maybe not Manga, but Tillman. They got together and they said, "Yeah, the way you feel is how we feel. You're not coming back, and you're not coming back next season." So officially sacked him, but he's staying for the remainder of the season. As Yuri Mulder said, hey, look, he earned playing the rest of the season just because we were getting threatened with relegation for a second time. He stabilized us, and that's what the goal that he was brought in for. So they're letting him see out the rest of the year, but he has been sacked. But then one of the names that we have been mentioned with, Marcus Anfang from Kaiserslautern, he gets sacked with immediate effect. And it was questionable because, you hear the rumors with Schalke, and all of a sudden he's playing Schalke, and they're like, you're gone. So you're like, what's going on there? And then they get Lieberknecht to take over for them, who had just left another team who he was fired from, and he goes to here. So it was just all this movement going around. They got the new manager bump. The Anfang thing is curious because I think Gamer Brother brought this up in his stream where, Kaiserslautern are hearing rumors that Anfang wants to go to Schalke. They're playing Schalke next. They've been struggling the last 4 games. Let's just get rid of him now and not risk the chance because they want to get promoted. Yeah. And it's funny because going into the season, I don't think anybody anybody had Kaiserslautern as a promotional contender. And I think they just wanted to be, top 10. That's it. They all of a sudden overperformed this year. They got a chance of promotion, and their goals changed, and then they make irrational decisions. Apparently, this is a very Kaiserslautern thing to do. So they got rid of Anfang. He's available now. Don't know if we're going to get him. But what were your thoughts about all this movement that's going on during the week last week leading up to the game? It just seemed like nonstop, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, the Anfang situation is weird, and it certainly makes you feel like there's probably fire to the smoke then. Because, I mean, like...
He has a connection with Bauman.
But, yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is, like, if you're a club, you're not going to just fire a coach because there's rumors.
Right.
Like, anyone can print anything in the media. Like, I think they had to have clearly felt like there was some substantive negotiation happening. And like you said, given the slide they're on already, maybe they're like, hey, this guy's not focused on finishing this campaign with us, and it's still achievable. So, like, hey, we think we have the squad. We just think we need anybody for the last couple games to come in and like have the right approach and the right attitude, and like let's do that. And I mean, team certainly looked good against us, despite it. So that was interesting. And then like the Kees Van Wunderen stuff, like we talked about it last week. Like, look, I'm not necessarily saying that I think Schalke would have retained him, and it's entirely possible that based on stuff that was happening internally, the writing may have been on the wall, and Van Wunderen may have been correct about that, but at the time he was saying some of these comments like, hey man, rattle off a couple wins, sneak into like 8th or 9th place.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going to happen? You know what I mean? But like, if you just start like talking already about how you have like no support, and I mean, like when you haven't done any, because honestly, what's he done to like really sell himself so far? I'm not saying he's done like a horrific job, but like, I don't think you can look at his track record so far and be like, yes, let's build with him. Yeah. He just kind of like spoke it into existence and made Schalke's decision that much easier, I feel like, because he just kind of said it himself. So yeah, weird stuff. I don't know. It looks like the silliness that affects things in the top division is very much there in the second division as well.
Thank goodness for Yuri Mulder. I think he's very good in front of the camera. He knows how to talk. He knows how to keep things level in terms of, if something like the Barkok situation, everyone was going after Barkok with what he said. We'll share the screenshots that he said to somebody on Instagram, whatever. But everyone's blowing it up, and Mulder's very calm about it. He's like, look, he's a young kid. He made a mistake. We sent him home for the day. Same thing with the Kees Van Wunderen thing. He's like, he could be talking bad about Kees, but no, he's like, look, all he does is talk positive about Kees. Like, he did good for us. We're happy to what he did with us. We're going to let him finish out the season. I think Yuri Mulder's very good in front of the camera, which is one of the nicer things, I'm going to say about the supervisory board. But going back to the Van Wunderen and Anfang thing, I'm wondering because maybe somebody put it in Van Wonderen's ear. They're like, yeah, you're not coming back next year. They're not going to bring you back. And that's why he kind of got in his head. He started talking more. And maybe Kaiserslautern was hearing the same things, right? And they're like, yeah, Anfang's not coming back next year. Well, they knew he's not coming back. But like, he's going to Schalke next year. And maybe that's helped them enact further in what they end up doing. Yeah. So who knows? There's more rumors, more candidates, and I'll probably get into more of those on Friday. The latest rumor is Tim Walter, and it includes a following on Instagram. I'll get more to that on Friday, but that's all I got for tonight. I'll leave on a little bit of good news, Jack. Christian Pander, former Schalke left back, great left foot. He is going to become the new manager at Prussen Munster. So he's going to save his old club. He's going to try to save his old club from relegation. He has Schalke and Munster in his hearts, so he's going to try to save them. So good for him. Hopefully he gets what he wants, but whatever. That's all I got.
Hey, I love it. Anytime we can just pull up a name from Schalke past, it's worth doing. I forgot that I probably pulled out like a Neustadter a couple podcasts ago or something else. So give me whatever you got. I'll take it. Christian Pander is a great name.
Outside of the Raul that we hear every week about coaching, right?
Yeah.
So all right. That's it for tonight. I think long enough. We got two games we had to talk about tonight. Obviously the women and then the men. I'll be back on Friday or Saturday night, depending on what time when the game is, to do a live stream. But until then, Jack, where can our followers find you on social media?
Yeah, definitely tune into Schalke America After Dark with Richard on Friday nights for a different Different kind of take. You can find me at JMMangan, JMMangan on Twitter.
You can find me at R_KHARMAN. More importantly, follow us at Schalke America all across social media. Follow us on Twitch so you can catch those videos. Because apparently I know how to stream to Twitch live, but I messed up everything up on Fridays. So, just follow us on Twitch. And then make sure you follow us on YouTube again and subscribe and leave comments and stuff like that. And spread the word to everybody else. German-speaking or English-speaking, doesn't matter. Anybody around the world. All right. We're going to get out of here. Next game is, I should know the next game. It's against Paderborn. I know that. Another name that we're linked with, Lucas Kwasniak. We're playing his team this weekend. It is on, I want to say it's on Sunday, but do not quote me. My app's not working now. So you just have to trust me. It's this weekend. I know that. So, all right. For Jack and myself, we'll catch you guys soon. Enjoy your week and watch some old Schalke highlights. I don't know. Glück auf.